Sick of too many people speaking Mexican in this country? Have you ever considered a career in law enforcement, but the police said you were too stupid? Do you like to wear a mask while doing despicable things? Join ICE! Are you interested in demanding documents from visible minorities? Have you ever considered becoming a mall security guard so you can boss kids around? Do you ever think Hitler had some good ideas? Join ICE! Do you ever stare out the window while drinking a cup of coffee and think, wow, I'm good at hatred and anger? Were you bullied as a kid, or were you the bully? Either works. Do you consider paintball a sport? Do you think Christy Gnome should kill another puppy? Up. Join ICE! Do you laugh out loud when you watch Schindler's List? Does the idea of pepper spraying peaceful protesters make you aroused? Did your wife leave you after you joined a militia? Do you consider playing Call of Duty a way of life? Join ICE! Do you think fascism is a witticism from the Fast and Furious franchise? Do you ever call your ex and then hang up just to hear her voice? Have you been to at least 3 Trump rallies? Have you seen every Steven Seagal movie? Can you do 5 push-ups in a row? How about 3? Do you ever lie next to some clothes your ex left and pretend she's still around? You're so witty. The bottom line is, if you're a dumb, racist piece of shit, ICE might have a job for you. And don't forget, you can always hide behind a mask.
Talking to you right now.
When these people come out and go, Tim's a bootlicker for defending us.
I am not in danger, Skylar.
So I'm like, no, you misunderstand. It's my boots.
I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
It's mine. I voted for them. I'm wearing the boot. I'm stomping on the ground.
Hey folks, statistically speaking, a small handful of you probably thought that edit was kind of edgy and cool. The last few months have generated a renewed sense of ire among the American populace against Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This is in part because they're being used as a secret police force and disappearing people without warning or due process, in part because their entire mission is essentially worthless at the outset, and in part because they've recently developed a taste for the blood of American citizens. You may be frustrated by this fact, were all of the deaths of the alleged non-citizens, that being the deaths that we know of, not enough for Americans to care, and I agree. If it were up to me, people wouldn't see imaginary lines as the determining factor in a human being's worth. Sadly, they still haven't put me in charge. In any event, this backlash has led some folks to start claiming that you are more likely to be killed by ICE than by an undocumented immigrant. People say this, of course, because it's, by all accounts, pretty much correct, but a few members of the intellectual right have decided to claim otherwise. Chief among them, bootlicker, who doesn't realize the thing he's licking is a boot, Tim Pool. We've covered Tim's generational illiteracy in the past with a graph he posted comparing the violence rates by political party, and if that graph title sets off some alarm bells in your head, you should probably go check out that previous video. Recently, however, Tim has decided to argue that actually, not only are undocumented immigrants more violent than ICE agents, you're actually orders of magnitude more likely to be killed by an immigrant than an ICE agent. Tim's graph is titled Deaths from ICE versus Deaths from Illegal Immigrants per year. One interesting creative choice Tim made was failing to name which years he was referring to, which, I mean, fair enough. With all of this modern curriculum, I'm pretty sure they don't start expecting you to name your graphs accurately until 2nd grade. You may also notice that there are no sources for this graph. No, I haven't cropped them out or otherwise obscured them. Tim simply did not cite any. The reason he didn't cite any sources is because none exist, because he made this data up, because he's a Nazi stooge running defense for an administration that wants desperately to keep killing people. Here's a graph that actually has a source, the NIJ in this case, linked below because I'm not a complete hack. showing the rate of violent crime arrests by citizenship and documentation status in Texas. As you can see, at no point between the years of 2012 and 2018, the years this data was recorded, did the violent crime rates for undocumented immigrants reach even half that of citizens, because no shit. But I'm not content with that. See, I had an idea today. What if we made our own shitty conservative lie graph with one single modification? Every number we use has to have a source attached to it. Could be interesting. Let's make a graph of death rates by ICE agents versus undocumented immigrants in 2025, and let's cheat fucking hard in favor of ICE. According to the DHS, the number of ICE agents/officers more than doubled in 2025 from 10,000 to 22,000. Because we're trying to make ICE look as good as possible, we'll use 22,000 as the total number. The more agents there are, the fewer deaths there will be per agent. The Guardian reported 32 deaths in ICE custody in 2025. Now, that number is certainly significantly higher in the real world, as we've seen ICE frequently just accidentally loses people and fails to keep track of the people they've kidnapped, and that, of course, also ignores all of the people who've been killed in foreign gulags we deported them to. While we're at it, though, let's cut the number of deaths in half. Maybe 16 of those people were actually gonna die anyway, regardless of what ICE did. Why not? That puts us at, if we round down, 0.0007 deaths per ICE agent in 2025. As a reminder, to get this number, besides rounding, I had to inflate the number of ICE agents, ignore all unreported deaths, ignore deaths by ICE shootings, ignore deaths caused post-deportation, and cut the number of deaths in half. Let's look at them immigrants now. According to Pew Research, there were 14 million undocumented immigrants in the US in 2024. Close enough. Let's use that as our population. According to Border Patrol, there were 23 murder/manslaughter convictions of, quote, criminal aliens in the fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year and real person year are slightly different, so we'll also include the current murder convictions in 2026, which brings us up to 27 total. But here's the thing. CBP appears to only be tracking murder convictions for undocumented immigrants who have an existing criminal record, either in the US or in their country of origin. While this would naturally include most murderers, it would technically exclude any first offenders. So let's double this number. Actually, scratch that. Let's multiply it by 100. Let's literally multiply this number by 2 entire orders of magnitude and say there were 2,700 killings by undocumented immigrants in the year 2025. And for good measure, let's round our result. As a reminder, to do this, I have just combined the homicide/manslaughter convictions for 2 years, then multiplied that result by 100 for no reason other than that I felt like it. Then rounded the result to make undocumented immigrants look as bad as possible. From this generationally shitty math, I have deduced that there was 1 death for every 5,000 undocumented immigrants. Here's what this would look like on a graph. Even if I lie through my teeth for this administration, manipulate the numbers until they are unrecognizable, it is not even close. There is no contest. ICE is more violent. For the record, this is what that graph looks like if I get rid of as many of these shitty assumptions as I could. For the ICE population here, I took the average of 10 and 22,000, and I still can't quantify unreported deaths that would likely make this number far worse. Of course,
Ergorotic.com.
I'm here to tell you I understand what the filmmaker was trying to say with the film Cuties.
How many times? You think we ain't felt all the things? How many times? We said we oppose taxation. What about the roads? How many times? What about the roads?
Hello.
I'm sorry, this is just Elam's camera. I'm just holding it for him. Let me see.
Dane, you're muted.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of getting my shit situated finally. As you can hopefully tell, it's a different space. But I've got a little Gordy bed right here, and I've got an extra camera that I'm going to put right there. So, you know, whenever there's a cat activity, we can check them out.
Ooh.
Yeah, cat activity. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Yeah, no, I'm back. Yes, I finally get to return.
So I was wondering where you've been, man, because I know you get real cagey about your private life, and I think I figured it out.
What the fuck are we doing here? Seriously, you have had months to prepare for this upcoming event. I don't give a damn if this is outside of decorum.
So yeah, this was in I don't know. Does anybody know off the top of their head the city this is in? Southern California, I believe.
Is it?
No idea. No.
Yeah,
I saw a screenshot of it. I haven't seen the video.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Check it out. Pretty amazing.
People are dying on our streets every single day in this country because we allow this federal government to walk all over you. Look me in the eye. Can any one of you go home to your children and tell them that
nobody gives a fuck what you think?
You did everything you could to protect their classmates, to protect their grandparents, to protect them? I don't think you can, with the exception of Park. Thank you. This needs to have happened 2 months ago, but you can still make it up and make every single policy on this little sheet of paper here happen right now. Happen before the Super Bowl. Happen before potentially hundreds of masked men come into our city and kill people. I am disgusted by each and every one of you, with the exception of Councilmember Park, that you have not done something more. You need to affirm that no city resources will go to ICE, that no cooperation will be given to them. You need to affirm to the country, to the world, that you are not cowards. Because as of right now, I stand in front of a council of cowards. And if you do not act, you're not just cowards, you are traitors. Traitors to each and every individual you serve. To each and every individual that lives in this country, legal or not.
You know what I like about this guy, other than the fact that he's dressed like Batman and he just walked into this place like he owned it? It's that he's clearly nervous and he's fucking up a little bit with, he's stumbling over himself and he just keeps going because, he's almost certainly not somebody that speaks publicly on a regular basis.
Yeah. I feel like the Batman thing is kind of a way to help him out a bit,
Well, also just like, more people than just that immediate city councilor here are seeing this too. So
yeah, that helps too. Yeah.
I mean, it just goes to show, really, that the fictional Batman's reasoning for wearing a bat costume kind of checks out, because he's developed his own legend. But anyway, things aren't good right now. But hey, let's not start the show on that. Let's start talking about something else. Somebody else lead the show, man. I don't know how to do this anymore. Off the rails. The reality is off the rails.
I've been watching lots of chud channels, and I discovered, even though I was watching Starfleet Academy on my own, I discovered watching through the chud channels that apparently every single character in the show is gay now.
That's true.
Yes.
I didn't even notice it watching the show, but I mean, they said it.
Yeah.
It must be true, right? It must be true.
I would argue that in the future that probably would be true. Not they would be gay, but I believe people would be less concerned about gender roles and sexuality in the future.
Yeah,
I don't think that would
it
be
might be more open, and that'd be cool. I mean, yeah.
No, I agree with that. I did see that. There's been several clips of people accusing, like Jaden, the Klingon on Starfleet Academy, of being an openly gay man outside of Star Trek, and he's never. I looked it up. He's never made a statement about being gay outside of Star Trek, so it's also kind of weird.
Well,
I haven't seen the show, so I don't know. But the character is gay or no?
No, not as of right now. No, there's been no mention of it. But they tried to say, well, the actor's gay, but the actor's also never said he's openly gay. So
they're just doing what they're programmed to do, which is to find something to say about something, right? It's insane.
I don't.
But keep in mind, they also get mad at things like Stranger Things, where the actor comes out. So you can't be in the closet, but you also can't come out. It's
right. Yeah.
There's almost no like it's bigotry. It's almost
like it's grifting too.
True.
How much of the old Those Epstein files have you guys dug into, if at all, any?
I mean, there was like what 2.7 million new ones released, and I've seen some of that.
Just a couple.
Yeah, I can't keep up with it.
I mean, I found people that did the work, and then I looked at the highlights, basically.
Hello, nothing but media.
Hey, Ryan.
I remember you joined, and I forgot that you can't automatically join on your own. You can't.
But like, there's a couple of things that are, I mean, a lot of it has nothing immediately to do with the stuff that we tend to talk about or whatever, but some of it kind of actually has everything to do with it. I don't know if you guys have seen that bit with Epstein and Peter Thiel and Steve Bannon, basically Epstein and Bannon, who were very good friends apparently. If you're not familiar with Steve Bannon's history, and outside of being Trump's guy, he didn't start Gamergate, but he saw Gamergate was like a movement of disaffected, young, angry white men generally, and he kind of corralled that and led them into the MAGA camp.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's proud of that. He's talked about it. He's also, it's less known, but is the case that he essentially started Comicsgate. So he kind of put his fingers on the scale there. Got people like Mike Barron and what's his name, Chuck Dixon, back writing comics. They had not been writing comics, and he kind of encouraged them to do that by doing some Clinton Cash comic or whatever. And then suddenly, they're doing their Comicsgate grift. Well, turns out Epstein and him, kind of just theorized this whole culture war thing as like a means of distracting people from the fact that they're just, doing corrupt, evil shit, both financially and just like, with children. It's crazy. I'm almost done with my last video that I was doing, and then I got to that shit came out, and I'm like, I got to rework part of this at least. Yeah. Yeah, I'm digging into that right now, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it feels like all those sort of charts that yourself and Pillar put together for their web of interconnectedness now needs one figure at the center, one missing figure.
Like, and it feels weird because it's not like I came to this whole thing from the opposite approach that a conspiracy theorist tends to go to at stuff, right? So like I first kind of noticed vibes wise connections between like Comicsgate, Phantom Menace, and then like the fascism that was starting to happen in like 2017. I'll be like, hey man, there's a lot of overlap, it seems like here, just like the vibe of it, and some of the the ways they talk and beliefs and stuff like that. And then just as time goes on, I just start putting like literal connections, like, oh wait, no, there's actually literal human beings that have 1 foot in this and 1 foot in that. Mm-hmm. And then you start looking at Nerdrotic and all that stuff. We've talked about all that before.
Well, every time we discussed it early on, we were all saying like we don't want to sound like conspiracy nuts here, but a lot of it's connected.
Yeah,
and in weird ways. So,
and this is the weirdest way. Like it literally couldn't get any weirder than just like Epstein is kind of at the fucking the core of. Yeah, the QAnon thing is a big part of it. But like, and that's all. Jesus Christ, it's what a tangled web they've woven, right? But.
And yeah, it all comes down to that phrase: always accuse others of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're not going to know all the details of this probably in our lifetimes. They're going to be, honestly, the scope of this thing, the sprawl of it, is large enough that it's one of the most fucking major fucking events in human history. That's not even exaggerating. Dude's got ties to Putin, ties to Israel, ties to fucking obviously British royalty, U.S. It's crazy, but like, yeah. Anyway.
No, I was just going to push back on that slightly. I think Epstein kind of is at the center of it because what he was doing was so grotesque that the only way to cover that up was by manipulating so many other people.
And that's why people went to him, because he has a mind that like basically evil people respected as like that's the fucking evil genius that we got to go to do our get evil advice from. I
mean the biggest evidence that he must have had something on them is that he's the only one not still alive. They're all out here just still leading their lives as if nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean this is absolutely true. That like yes. The biggest, I mean, maybe not the biggest, but like a clear takeaway for me from this is that, they are still and always have been grifters, these guys, but they also have now, I'm realizing they've been grifted. They got grifted into doing grifting. You know what I mean? I posted on YouTube posts something about like, basically they've been jangling the keys to distract people, but they're also jangling the keys for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
This is essentially the bigger version of what happened with Tenet Media, which was a small scale version of this exact thing. Russian operatives took people that were already saying things that they wanted them to say and just started paying them for doing it.
Yeah, this is a good rough outline. Thank you, Bob. Epstein started. He started the poll. What is that? What is it, subreddit? No, but on 4chan.
Politics, right? Yeah, 4chan.
4chan is where QAnon was born. You know what I mean? Like, and then Bannon, as I mentioned a minute ago, he was right there at the beginning of grabbing these nerdy culture, groups and radicalizing them. It's crazy, man. It is nuts.
And it's insane. Ghislaine Maxwell, how much of a time she devoted to being a mod on Reddit.
I've seen, some people or some chuds are trying to act like because she was a mod on a couple of subreddits or something like that, that proves that, their leftists were part of it too, or something like that. It's like they're doing their false equivalency thing. They are desperate. The ones that recognize that there's too much, I'm talking about the chuds that are recognizing these links are too much to ignore. I imagine it has to be kind of alarming to realize that you might have just taken for granted all of these things, and then now you might realize, oh wait, this actual pedophile and his pedophile ring are kind of like at the base of all the shit that I've been saying for years on the internet. It's wild.
And you can whatever you say about whoever's in those files, if you make allegations against any people you consider left-leaning or Democrat or liberal or whatever, those criticisms have to be levied about all the right-wing people in there as well. And I think what's interesting is that everyone on the left is quite willing to do that, tar them all with the same brush, if you like. Whereas people on the right tend to be focusing on only some people on that list.
I mean, look, no, we're not saying that Epstein literally caused every, we're just saying that like there's definitely other people that have been identified. If you go read the blog or listen to the podcast of Rewriting Ripley, they did a great job of sourcing some of the white nationalist elements that were right there at the beginning of, intentionally starting to press on culture, points about gender and Star Wars and whatever the fuck. So it's
it's not that. It's not that granular. It's not that micro. They didn't have a hand in everything. But
they just needed to set up the foundation. That's it. The foundation needed to be built. All the houses built on top of that foundation can be different, but they all come from the same place.
Yep. They planted the seeds.
This post made me laugh, but it's also something to think about. Do you think this stupid piece of shit knows that the last decade of his life complaining about woke movies was a calculated psychological operation designed by Jeffrey Epstein, Peter Thiel, and a cabal of pedophiles to control corporate interest rates? No, probably not.
No, but then very early on, he did make a video about protecting people with.
It's true.
CSAM on their computers, so who knows?
He went out of his way to show where his loyalties lie on that.
Or maybe that's why he was why his rise to success was so swift. Because that's the other thing they were doing, as well as planting seeds, they were funneling money into anywhere that they thought supported their cause. So who knows how much of that dark money went to some of Chud fans' favorite creators? We just don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't believe anybody's claiming that like Epstein and Bannon made people racist for the first time. Really, it's just they're smart enough guys to recognize, smart enough and also just like depraved enough to do it, to recognize cultural flashpoints and like rifts between various people and groups and culture, and go, yeah, we can fucking press on that, we can pound on that fault line and make it work to our advantage.
It's also proximity to wealth. A lot of people think that if they do these things, they'll also become rich and be able to do all the stuff that they, protect and defend from these like outrageous millionaires and billionaires. They have this idea that that's going to happen for them. And all you have to do is show them how to make the money. Once they understand this is what I have to do to make the money. They just have to keep doing that same thing over and over and over again, which is what these guys have done. And then outlets like YouTube, you could say that their complicity in like not enforcing their own terms of service against a lot of these channels, like the things that they do that we know are violations of terms of service. That's a big thing. And in the back of my mind, whenever I've talked about these channels and any of these websites, I've always said that my biggest issue with how we're dealing with it is the rejection of enforcing your own terms of service that people agree to when they sign up to use the site. Because if you look at it, it's very obvious that the concept of racism and bigotry and harassment have been crossed many times by these channels.
God, yeah.
And YouTube does nothing to the larger channels. Now, a medium-sized channel may lose their entire channel. We've seen that happen. But if you're a big enough channel, they're not going to do anything to you. And again, that's a whole concept of like, you're making money for YouTube, so YouTube's not going to do anything.
This might not be, I don't know if it might be a popular thing to say, but you're right. Like there's a time after time, probably damn near every day, every video they put out or stream, almost for streams for sure. Like on Friday Night Tights, if you watch an episode of that,
you can click at any point, Dane. Go in there at any point, and within 5 minutes, you're going to hear them do something. That's
what I was going to say is that if these grifters, which they are grifters, do have any skill whatsoever, it does, and to varying degrees, it lies in knowing exactly what they can get away with saying while still conveying. Because they're not trying to hide the fact that they're being racist or bigots or whatever. They're trying to mask it from being so, like, give it some layer of benefit of the doubt so that YouTube won't punish them. But also,
I've actually heard them using slurs in videos.
I was about ready to say they
use slurs and stuff. Yeah,
they've gotten more overt.
Every video they do is an R slur or an F slur in the video. You know what I mean? And then they had someone on their stream pull his dick out on stream, and their channel is still active.
I mean, I will say it's not as extreme as them constantly using the N-word. That's about the limit of how.
But why does that word? Else. Why is that word more inflammatory than any other slur? I don't understand that. Like, I get it that it's a bad thing, but I think all slurs are bad. The fact that people use the F slur so openly now in their streams over and over and over again, and nothing is done about it, and it's just pushed aside. All that is normalizing the usage of slurs so that we can get to the ones that people consider to be like worse, like the N-word.
Yeah. I mean, it's normalizing that, and then then we'll get to the N-word, and oh boy.
And it's not even about free speech; it's about terms of service. That's a slur.
Yeah,
you're not taking away somebody's ability to say what they want to say. You can say what you want to say without using a slur.
And and if you look at the actual terms of service, I mean, there's videos about what YouTube is supposed to allow and not allow, and one of them is very clearly bullying, and it doesn't specify that you can bully public figures. It just says you can't bully people. And yet what we see them do is, if you're making 100 videos on Brie Larson and saying how awful she is, how is that not bullying? Because she's famous?
Right, because that would require them to investigate it, and I don't think they care. But I don't think they go and look at the channels.
In no way am I like saying that I either know the inner workings of YouTube or would defend them anyway, but like I wonder how much of it could be that they recognize that, for example, these chuds, they have shown very clearly before that they are concerned about certain things getting attention called to it, such as the Star Wars fan letter thing. You know what I mean? I remember that fan letter was drafted up by several content creators and fans and stuff. And what did they do? They just kind of expertly fucking made the narrative instantly about it was all focused at Star Wars Theory, who wasn't even named in the video. Nerdrotic Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kennel, right? And then they made it about one specific channel, which was Star Wars Explained, was behind the whole thing, when that's not even doesn't represent the whole situation at all.
No,
but they got that to be the popular narrative on YouTube. And it's like, but you could tell they were freaked the fuck out. That's why they did that. Nerdrotic and those guys, they were really fucking panicking, I think. They're like, oh my God, somebody's getting organized enough to call attention to the shit we do. This isn't good. And they did their whole panic move, which worked for them. But I wonder how much of it is these guys will turn anything into something in their advantage. So if they get a channel or a video taken down, right, that we've seen them do it, where they're like, whoa, YouTube's coming after us for telling the truth or whatever the fuck, and it's like, that's kind of just the thing with fascism, is that it will use losses to make wins.
Well, I think the clearest example of that is when they get a video pulled down for copyright reasons, which we've all had. Every single creator, I would have thought, that uses footage from anywhere else will have had copyright claims. So we know why it happens. It's automatic. It's based on whether your clip is over 5 seconds and the software recognizes it. Yet as soon as it happens to any one of these channels, we're trying to be silenced. YouTube is trying to shut us down. Actually, no, they don't say YouTube. They say the studio that the clip has been claimed from.
Right.
Disney is trying to shut us down. If I get a claim from Warner Brothers because I've put some footage from one of their films, and the dispute gets rejected, I don't say Warner Brothers is trying to shut my channel down. It's this weak strongman argument that they always had.
You know, they have a lot of headwind, did anyway. They had a lot of benefits having an audience and developing an audience that doesn't give a shit about whether something is fact-based or not. Just does that vibe fit the vibe they're looking for? That's all they care about. And so if they're wanting to feel like victims, you know, they got content for that. If they want to feel like winners, the next 2 minutes after that victim content, they'll do a video about how they're winners. And
the amount of times they've been caught lying and immediately run defense on it if they can.
Yeah.
I mean, the big examples I can think of is when Adam from YMS caught Neurotic clipping something to lie about it, and then recently, Eric, you caught Az doing exactly the same thing. Those are the most blatant examples. But how many other examples?
They do it all the time.
They do it all the time. All their videos, I catch them doing that on the regular. I catch them doing that.
I mean, I've just got countless fucking examples that I could pull up at any given time, essentially.
Going back to what you were saying, Dane, though, about how they mobilize and sort of cry about, you know, anything that affects them, banning, whatever. You know, I would say they're going to do that anyway. They're going to say that anyway. So it's better to enforce the rules than it is to allow them to do what they're doing, I think, because they're going to say that they're speaking the truth and they're being silenced or whatever. It doesn't matter if it gets legitimized or not. They're going to say that whether it's actually happening or not, because even when you have them in power, they control all the branches of the government. They control media pretty much from a large portion. They're still saying that they're victims. So I think it's better to actually enforce rules in terms of service against them than it is to allow them to continue to play the victim narrative, because they're not victims.
You're right, and I definitely don't think that you know me, I'm not one to ever fucking give ground to fascists. I'm just saying I'm trying to have a conversation about how we can navigate those fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
I agree. But, I mean, and you're absolutely right, except that I think that now they're maybe losing some cultural power.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe some folks aren't on board with some of this shit, but
I mean, not only that, but like what you were talking about just before I jumped on, they are so desperate to make something of this new Star Trek series. So desperate.
I pulled up. I was just looking at Nerdrotic's channel here, and you can tell immediately why. So he's done 3 videos on the fucking Star Trek series already, and 2 of them have already broken 1 million views, and he has been struggling to break 1 million views for a few months now. I don't think he's done it since Superman at this point. But actually, did this Hollywood is Cooking. That's the one exception.
Well, I guess it was just yesterday or whatever, the news of the new management at what you call it, Disney, right?
Oh yeah.
So, but I'm curious what they're going to do about that, because Disney's Iger's going to be out in March, and then comes Josh DeMarco, I think it is.
DeMauro and
Dana Walden.
Dana Walden, yeah.
So yeah,
I was thinking Walden Books in my head. Walden Books.
Like, honestly, it seems like a pretty strong duo. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand the reason they were chosen, because like he's got a very proven background in global branding and marketing, as well as the parks area of things.
Yeah.
Very successful.
The other thing to highlight, though, is that it doesn't matter. Disney have had a great year in 2025.
Right.
Yeah.
They had their most successful animated film of all time. They had an Avatar sequel that still did very, very well, despite apparently nobody liking it.
They were still number 1 in 2025. They were the number 1 highest grossing studio in 2025. So,
and yet it didn't matter. The narrative from the chuds was still Disney is failing, Disney is dying, etc., etc. So
Except it's a larger. I've said this before. It's a larger picture. They're talking about Disney. Disney is a channel on a TV network. You know what I mean? Like it's one of many things that Hollywood is. So like if you're looking at Disney as an individual business, it's different from looking at Hollywood as an industry. And I don't know why they don't do this, because they're the ones who are always talking about Hollywood. Like there's issues with Hollywood. There's branches of Hollywood that we're dealing with. Theaters, issues with theaters, the economy, what kind of movies people are going to see, how does that affect movie production? What does it look like with the lower budget movies versus the larger budget movies? But Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers said this. Their audience is too stupid to stay interested in that kind of conversation. So everything becomes the dumbest version of what it actually is. So it's just Hollywood bad. Disney is failing. There's no real conversation about what the problems in Hollywood are. There are issues in Hollywood. We're seeing them, but it's not wokeness. But wokeness is an easy scapegoat.
This is exactly why we fucking call them grifters. And the people that come to us being like, oh, you call them grifters, you're a grifter. Like, you don't understand anything apparently, but like, it's not simply because there's like a conversation, basically dialogue that we've had with these guys, not directly in most cases, but like they put out a statement, they put out content saying a thing is bad and woke or whatever. And then we go, wait, but it's not necessarily that, because, you know, or maybe you don't like this or whatever, or that's just kind of dishonest or bad framing. And their response is that we're shills and that they're just mad. We're mad that they don't like it, which fucking completely kills any actual dialogue that could take place. And that's where I'm like, okay, you're a fucking dishonest grifter.
Well,
you know,
I mean, they're desperate to avoid dialogue, especially after I attempted it a few times. But yeah, they just last thing they want is a fucking honest dialogue.
I mean, I think you succeeded.
But this is also
you kind of killed it, Bob. Like, you killed it.
Sorry, I was hoping for more, not less. I was hoping for more.
This same thing is reflected in the administration at this point. It's hard to tell who's getting their cues from who. I don't know if you saw, but Karen Levitt just recently put out a statement within, I think, today, saying that Bad Bunny is part of the Hollywood elites. I mean, he's a Puerto Rican rapper. What's he got to do with Hollywood? Absolutely nothing.
He's only been making music for like half a decade. They're acting like he's been in Hollywood for 30 years. You know what I mean? 50 years, whatever.
He's got nothing to do with being a Hollywood elite. I mean, but that's
they won't even tell you the stuff he's done. I'm not out here, you know, necessarily saying I know everything about Bad Bunny, but I do know that the first massive bits of money that he made, he went back to Puerto Rico and invested it in Puerto Rico to make sure that there were things that were being done socially to help the people of Puerto Rico. So this is somebody who actually does have those quote unquote American values that they say they have. But he's somebody who doesn't speak English as his first language. He's somebody who's brown. And so that makes him the villain. That's the entire thing with this whole Caroline Levitt and this whole Turning Point USA fake ass halftime show is done specifically to be based on racism.
Yep.
Like that's all it is. It's called the All-American Halftime Show. When all, the word all means nothing in there, because they're excluding actual Americans and going against Americans like Bad Bunny, who is an American citizen. So it's not an all-American, it's white American. No, that's what it is. It's the white American halftime show. That's what this is supposed to be. And you can't look at it any other way because it only exists in opposition to Bad Bunny.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's one of the things that drove me nuts when Bad Bunny was first announced. I'm not, massive fan of Bad Bunny or anything, but like everybody was like, they should have an American do the halftime show. And I'm like, well, number one, why does that matter? And number two, he's Puerto Rican. That's American. What the fuck are you talking about?
We've already years ago when Trump went down there and threw the paper towels at him. You know what I mean? Like it's just it never changes. They just it default to the dumbest, most fucking.
If there's anybody that can speak on how popular Bad Bunny is, it's me. I literally work at a club 4 and 5 nights a week. I play his music literally multiple times a night. He is one of the most popular artists that I get requested at the club consistently from everybody that comes to the bar. So to act like people don't know him is just ridiculous. He just won a bunch of Grammys. Mm-hmm. What are we even doing?
Well, and then like I haven't really looked too deep into it, but I saw a couple of people that whenever it was announced that Green Day was also going to be performing, that chuds got excited about that at first. I don't think they realized maybe what Green Day has done.
Dude, it sounds like the same people who get upset when Tom Morello says something.
Anybody remember American? It literally had a song called "American Idiot." Like, I mean, it just
explicitly about George Bush, George W. Bush, which they were quite proud to say.
I remember this fucking crazy, surreal, goddamn clip that I saw from like 2020. It might have been here in Portland, where like, you know, there were some chuds that would set up camp and do their, you know, kind of little bullshit riots, trying to start fights with whoever the fuck downtown. And there was this guy, and he was like just a 45-year-old, just redneck looking dude, and he's just like stomping around with his fucking MAGA flag or whatever, and listening to "Killing in the Name of" by Rage Against the Machine. I'm just like,
dissidents. Oh my god.
Yeah, some of those who work forces are the same that burn crosses. What do you think that means, bud?
I want to remind everybody also, Kid Rock, the headliner of the All American halftime show,
Kid Rock,
right, had a song. It was in, what movie was it in? It was a kids movie, Osmosis Jones, called "Cool Daddy Cool," where he talks about hooking up with underage girls and that it's mandatory.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No wonder he's a Trump fan.
In a kids movie. I mean, I don't know how, like, literally everyone that's around this administration either is in files that say that they've done things with kids, or literally made a song about it and put it in a kids movie. And just now people are like, holy shit. He talks about statutory grape in that song.
Here we go. I got pulled up here.
I mean, it couldn't be any more ironic that the director of the Melania documentary, who Trump wants to make a new Rush Hour 4, guess what? He's in the files.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are the lyrics here, Bob?
Some classic Kid Rock lyrics from Osmosis Jones. Young ladies, I like them underage. See,
oh my God.
Some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory.
How does that even become a lyric in a song for a kids movie?
God.
I mean, of all the questionable lyrics of like songs from the 50s and 60s, I know everybody goes on about you're 16, you're beautiful in your mind, which I think is questionable unless you assume it's written from the perspective of a 16-year-old, but whatever. But none of those lyrics compare to that.
This is an admission of like a crime.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought it was hilarious in the Labyrinth soundtrack when David Bowie is singing about getting love injections. But that's nothing compared to this. Holy crap.
And this is their by the way, I want to remind everybody, this is their headliner for the All-American halftime show. Is somebody who wrote these lyrics for a song in a kids movie.
Well, I mean, everybody dropped out though, so
pretty much.
I mean, it says a lot when your headliner's fucking Kid Rock. The dude is only relevant when he says something fucking stupid on the internet.
I mean, he definitely
for music for years.
He definitely deserves to be the headliner of that lineup, because I have no idea who any of those other people are.
That's like, but that's the same kind of accomplishment as just having like the most gonorrhea. You know what I mean?
Did you guys see the guy, the politician, or not the politician, but the electric grid guy from Tennessee, blaming their power outages on DEI? Did you see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So apparently now the power goes out. Actually, I think I have the clip here. Hold on. We have to look at this. This is funny. So yeah, here's a clip. If you guys don't know, we had massive storms here.
That's its real head?
Week,
Holy
so,
shit.
yeah,
Dude, we still have piles of snow outside.
So
it hasn't
this is a representative from Tennessee who blames their power outages on DEI.
Are we not entirely sure that he's not a character from like a mid-2000s computer game?
Yeah.
You
say he's a representative. He doesn't represent like anybody that I know as a human being, but
here we go.
To your point, it's bad leadership. The head of
I want to point out this is Newsmax too, so you know.
The National Electric System, NES, prioritized DEI initiatives over making sure that the power function and making sure that
my God,
like just hold on. It's not very long, but listen.
Power would not go out in an ice storm, and if it did, that they could restore power within a quick amount of time. And unfortunately, that's not the case. People in Nashville have been without power now for 8 to 9 days.
And it's because of DEI. That's
like,
why.
Black people and lesbians or something.
Yeah.
Well, we all know how liberal Tennessee is as a state.
Yeah.
Famously, yes.
Oh my god.
It's the woke boogeyman is what it is.
Yeah, it's such a fucking.
I've just realized who that guy reminds me of. He looks like Ash in Army of Darkness right after he's come out of,
Oh, after the head stretch. Yeah, I can see that. Yes. I was wondering where I've seen him before. Man, his opinions went to hell when he stretched his head.
So I want to. This kind of ties perfectly to movie discussion as well as this other shit. But like, here is this is what is this Vanity Fair or Hollywood Reporter? Which one? I'm trying to think here.
I mean, they're all the same, really.
It's all the same. Okay, so here is this. Melania arrives with strong box office showing for a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon backed up the Brinks trucks to promote the vanity film, resulting in opening weekend ticket sales of roughly 8 million, or 60% more than expected.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That means it'll be a box office success, right?
Sinners is a box office success with a big asterisk. Ryan Coogler's original horror film was expected to sell a strong 46 million in tickets over the weekend, enough for number one. But its profitability is a long way off.
They're never going to live this down. We're going to bring this up every time because this is bullshit.
Yeah.
This was one of the dumbest, most obvious bad faith articles they've ever made.
So, I mean, the question really is like, is $46 million on a $90 million budget good? And $8 million on a $40 million better?
Yeah.
I'm not good with math. All I know is that, as I said here, one of these films directors is in photographs in the Epstein files. The other is Ryan Coogler.
Right.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Brett Ratner was like, I didn't even know Epstein. He said that yesterday.
Did you
The
see?
dude- yeah.
You're literally in pictures with him.
He says that was my fiance, and Piers Morgan goes, "Oh, well, yeah, what was her name? I'm just curious." And he's like, and I just want to point out because I did a little bit of detective work here. So he was with, not necessarily engaged to, but he was with Rebecca Gayheart for like 13 years. They were not engaged at this point. It was actually more likely that he was dating at the time Serena Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's who that is.
Well, I mean, we can't see her face clearly. It could be.
True. I'm just saying muscle mass alone. I don't think that's her tennis arms. And then also I want to point out the fact that that's Jeffrey Epstein sitting right there.
Can we also, okay, so here's my question. If this is a fiance and this is somebody that we know and they're not a victim, why is their face blacked out?
Yeah.
That's a good damn question.
That doesn't make any sense. The only people that are supposed to be blacked out from this were underage people or victims.
I'm glad you're excited about this. I got something for you. Let me pull this up. I did not make this stuff, but I will definitely use it to make fun of stuff. Where is it at? God damn it. Give me a second, I'll find it. But there is some stuff about the Melania Cinematic Universe. Here we go. God damn it. Do what I'm wanting you to do, computer. Okay.
Well, it's worth saying, while they are inflating the numbers for Melania, it's also worth noting it's gotta be the most expensive, or at least one of the most expensive documentaries.
I think it is the most expensive.
It is.
Yeah, no comparison. No.
Looking good. Can't wait.
God.
Can't fucking wait.
From model to gold digger. East Wing grift.
Yep.
Does anybody want to put money on the fact that East Wing will not be built by time Trump leaves office? In 2029?
I mean, first let's put money on the fact that he's probably not going to leave office.
Well, he's either going to leave or not be alive anymore, one or the other. I mean, he's basically melting in front of our eyes. So
True.
I mean, this FBI absolutely is, unfortunately, in this case, incompetent. You got to hand it to them. The FBI, comparatively, in the past has, often, not always, but often done pretty solid work because you don't even hear from him. You know, did you guys hear about this? The leaks from FBI agents or whatever? They talk about the meetings, like such as the one that happened after Charlie Kirk was killed. Whereas, you know, previously in the FBI, they would have like whoever the commander in the field in whatever situation, he would be the one that leads the conference call. But now it's Kash Patel and it was what's his name, Bongino. Before he quit, they were leading the call, and they're basically just going, okay, I'm going to tweet this. And then you wait a few minutes and you tweet this, and then like he's going to tweet this, and it's like this coordinated social media bullshit. It's like, it's pretty crazy. No, it was fucking Diddy, man. What are you talking about?
Actually, I was going to read what was in the news headlines in the last 24 hours, but it ended up being like 50 things. So, yeah, it was like I've been tracking. I've got a few accounts I follow on Blue Sky and Reddit and places like that. They keep track of like the headlines that come out in the last 24 hours. And when I tell you there could not be a wider variety of food items on the menu of stuff that gets put out into the news, it's pretty crazy.
It is weird how certain outlets, many of them are not at all, but some of them are covering the Epstein stuff, but not in the ways that it seems like are the most relevant.
You know what? I would say, okay, so I'm just going to be quite honest with this because, you know, I'm known for my subtlety. If any other president, any of them, had ever been accused of inserting their fingers into holes of young underage girls and testing the size of them, whether it was a real, like, investigated thing that they had done or not, it is definitely worth it, in my opinion, for the administration to do something. I mean, I don't know what it could be, but saying when Trump, after this came out, he's like, I think it's time we move on from Epstein. Bro, you just got accused by a victim of you inserting yourself into their vagina and testing the size of that of their vagina for potential men at a party, which, by the way, you did say back, you know, I don't know, was it like a decade ago now it is, that you grab women by their pussy. So, I mean,
and as well walked in on beauty pageant dressing rooms.
So my issue with this is whether these things are legitimate or not, ignoring them and pretending like they were not accusations that were made in all of these files that came out is madness to me. It's absolutely madness. And yeah, so what Bob says, governments in Europe are already being shaken up by this already. The reality is that these other governments are now chiming in on this. And this is what's going to make it even harder for the Trump admin, because now we have our president who is accused of doing this, and we're supposed to have him going out and meeting with other world leaders, just like everything's cool, everything's fine. And the issue is these are things that were not investigated. That's the problem. They were accusations made to the FBI, made to the government, that were hidden and covered up and not investigated. That's the issue. That's where the corruption is. And it's, you know, the amount of, like, Pam Bondi is a piece of fucking garbage. Garbage. I mean, she knew all of this stuff existed. Well, yeah, but the thing is, she actually, I believe that Pam Bondi is either very incapable of doing the job and she's ignorant to all of it, which is still bad, or she knows all of these things, and the other 50%, which Todd Blanchett says they don't intend on releasing, even though that's literally in violation of the law that Trump signed, they don't intend releasing because he believes we've seen enough. No, we haven't seen enough. Matter of fact, I don't think we've seen anything yet. Like, nothing is being done about this. We live in a country where our sitting president has been accused of putting his fingers into underage girls. And
I mean,
it's not front page news.
We haven't seen enough of what's been released. The stuff that's been redacted, we know for a fact shouldn't have been redacted, some of it.
Yeah.
We know that. because the law was very clear.
Well, they're redacting email, Ryan. They're redacting email addresses of people that have said things like, we should just murder this person and things like that. Why are those people's names redacted? They're not victims. And that was part of the things they were not supposed to redact. I didn't mean to drag everybody down, but it's baffling to me.
No, dude, you're absolutely right to bring that up, because I mean,
oh no, you're right.
It needs to be repeated. It needs to be, look, I don't know why. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I like to think that maybe, but I mean, really, what can be done? Pam Bondi's not going to fucking turn on Trump. He has people that are loyal to him, which almost certainly means at this point that he's got people that he's got something on.
I think Lindsey Graham is one of them for sure, because he's been amping it up, the rhetoric recently.
Oh yeah, Ladybug. But like, so it's pretty clear to me at this point that Putin has shit on Trump. There's various ways that you can look up and find how the KGB, and then like post USSR collapse, what was left of the KGB, which was Putin, how they would go about like finding information on people that would come visit, such as rich men from the U.S. How they would, there's bugs and video cameras, and the hotels that they made them stay at. Essentially, they would have escorts, sex workers, show up and meet somebody like Trump at the airport, and then give him a guide. So like basically everywhere that he went, he was being monitored, and they knew everything he was doing. So there's a vault somewhere with some tapes in it or whatever. I'm thinking probably that old PP tape from back in the day is a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would say now I didn't necessarily believe it back then, but now I actually believe it. But we also have the situation, like in my state, we talk about what we can do to like push back against it or whatever. In my state, our governor has already started dropping the hammer on pretty much everything to do with ICE and government overreach. ICE agents, they're not working.
Good.
Local law enforcement is not working with them anymore. We're getting ready to pass some stuff in our state government, so that if you are a government agent, you cannot wear a mask. You have to have identifying things on you, whether it be a badge or some sort of number or name, so you can be identified. All of these things are things that every fucking state should be doing at this point. Every single state should be doing it. And then in Texas, where they gerrymandered the fuck out of Texas, we just had someone win in a red district by 17 points, where Trump had won that district by 20 points just in 2024. We had a Democrat flip it. And that's happening everywhere. There's not been a red flip since 2025. It's either a hold or a blue flip. There's been no red flips anywhere since 2025. It is not looking good for them.
And based on the statements that Trump has made on this as well, I don't think he's got any idea what's in these latest releases. I think he's been briefed on it by his cabal, and they're telling him exactly what he wants to hear.
Details, because who would want to sit there and tell him, actually, sir, it talks about that time that you murdered a newly born infant. Because they found a fucking hatch, a Bond villain hatch in the bottom of Epstein's facility that drops into a deep part of the water around the Epstein Island that has no way to get back on land. It's surrounded by rocks. Literally a trap door that drops into the water. Now, why the fuck would you have that in your house? I mean, I could take like two guesses and I'd probably be right on both of them. So,
I'm going to assume it's not for James Bond, but
probably not. It's just everything I believe. And you know what? I don't know which one of you guys said, I'm sorry, I'm brain farting here, but there are so many moving parts in this Epstein situation that connect to corruption in different places with different people. We have government officials and people in power in other countries literally resigning because of this, walking away, stepping away from their positions because of how bad this is. It is so massive that I think the issue is that, and the reason why they tried to cover it up, is they know that this will affect all of these people who have money and wealth and power, and that bringing them down would take away everything they've built. But fuck that. If you were somebody on this island participating in the murder of people, trafficking, CSAM, if you were a part of that, you deserve to lose what you had. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as you were saying, in my country, there's a criminal investigation that will take place into a prince, into an actual prince, And yet America, the country that got rid of us because of our king, has done nothing to investigate. And the fact of the matter is, with the Elon emails and the Howard Lutnick emails, if those two people had been put on the stand under a congressional hearing or something like that a few years ago, and if they had explicitly stated the things that they have said publicly, after these emails come out, they would have perjured themselves. Because what they said at the time, that they had no contact with Jeffrey Epstein after 2005, was a lie.
Yes.
It was a lie.
It's coming out that a lot of people that said that lied about it. Ludnick lied about it. A bunch of other people associated with Trump lied with it. And people talk about, I want to make this very clear, and I hate to have to do this. I hate that I have to do a disclaimer on this, but I feel like it's important. Like the Hillary and Bill situation where they're having to go and testify or whatever in contempt and everything. I don't think people on the right understand the precedent that this is setting, which is why it's so interesting to me. If they did something that is wrong, even though I have supported them in the past, lock them up, take them to trial, and do what you have to do. If they did something wrong, they should be held accountable for doing something wrong. Period. Okay?
If need be, I will tear down my Bill Clinton flags. I will burn my Bill Clinton
Exactly. Or anyone that I've ever supported in the past gets found guilty of being associated with Epstein in a big way, then prosecute them, investigate them, find out what happened. But what my point here is that the fact that a president, a previous president, and somebody who ran for office, somebody who did serve, can be held in contempt and forced to testify in front of Congress, like Bill and Hillary are. This is setting up that standard that means that Trump can also be called in front of Congress. And I don't think people on the right understand that that is exactly what Bill and Hillary wanted to do when they didn't show up for the closed door meeting. They wanted this to be a public meeting in front of everybody. And I, as a citizen, wanted it to be public as well. I don't want whatever questions they answer being filtered through red tape. I want everything they're saying to be done in public on the record so that we all have it and we can all see it. And I think everybody deserves to see that.
131 people watching across a few different channels. Wherever you're watching, please subscribe if you're not already. But anybody that's watching is like, oh yeah, well, Bill Clinton's in there and Bill Gates. Like, I don't give a fuck about those things, dude. I don't give a fuck who is in there. I seriously don't. Anybody that's in there that is, because there's definitely people that are in there that, didn't necessarily do anything wrong. I mean, I would say if it was post his conviction in 2008 and you were still pals with him, I'm gonna fucking raise an eyebrow at you forever.
Yeah.
But like, still, there's people that probably didn't do anything illegal or whatever. But like anybody that did, to whatever degree they did, they need to be fucking held accountable for it. I don't give a fuck what their political affiliation is. These chuds can't fucking get it through their heads that we're not fucking playing political game here, that we actually are operating from our goddamn ethics and things we believe. And apparently the whole time they were not. Surprise, surprise. That up until the moment that it became clear, oh wait, Trump might be the second main character in the Epstein files. Oh yeah, well, now we don't care so much about it.
They said that Trump's name is mentioned in what we have right now of the Epstein files, which isn't even all of them.
5,000 something times.
His name is mentioned more than Harry Potter's name is mentioned in all of the Harry Potter books.
His name is mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah. Yep. But he has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah,
he just happens to be mentioned everywhere in the Epstein files.
By the way, I'm about to post in chat a searchable Epstein files. It's in Gmail format. It's kind of crazy. I'm looking at it right now. Like, it looks like Gmail, but it's just the Epstein files that are available. And you can see over here, got names. Peter Attia. That's a really interesting guy. He was about to be the doctor on CBS News. Turns out maybe he won't be anymore. Because he said things like pussy is low carb. And he's talking to, of course, Epstein about that, which kind of raises some gross connotations.
Did someone do this to make it easier to read the emails that are in the Epstein files? Is that what this is?
Yeah.
It looks like. Yeah, I was able to find it here.
So here's Steve Bannon. Crazy shit here. So here's Steve Bannon giving Epstein basically PR advice, how to renew his image from this little, basically he's telling him, you look, okay, so you fell in love with a 17-and-a-half-year-old girl. You've learned from your mistakes and you've grown or whatever. Like, that's what Bannon is telling Epstein he needs to kind of, do to get past his little faux pas of having soliciting a minor charge. And it's like, that's the most cynical shit, to just say that you fell in love with a 17-and-a-half-year-old and you just, you're a romantic, basically framing it as he's a hopeless romantic or whatever, and not a fucking sex predator. It's goddamn upsetting. Anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit in here, so if you haven't looked into it, I would suggest doing it. Here's the thing, you don't have to. Nobody has to. But if you're going to be on the internet having an opinion on it, you should. That's what I think. If you come at me and you have some fucking, firm opinion on something, I'm going to challenge whether or not you even fucking read any of this shit and what you got from it. And yeah.
I just want to challenge something that Gotham Knight 91 said as well. Republicans have no morals. Mm-hmm. This isn't just Republicans. This is the wealthy, the rich.
Yeah.
The powerful.
It's the Epstein class. The Epstein class has no morals, which is people with a lot of money.
Mostly Republicans. There's a lot of Republicans there, but not exclusively.
Yeah, there are. Honestly, there are Republicans that have broken away from Trump. I think an argument can be made that it applies.
They're all on the
but yeah, meh.
The only thing that is similar about all of these people is money and power. There's no poor people in there. Mm-mm. There's no.
Well, there are poor people, but they're the ones being victimized.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. There's no mom and pop business store owners. There's no small businessmen partying with Epstein. It's the very rich and the very powerful.
To give you an example, someone I respect way more than Bill Clinton, I actually years ago read most of his book. I couldn't quite get through all of it. Noam Chomsky. I used to really respect him. He's had some calls recently later in life that I haven't really been into, but he's been identified in this. If he did anything criminal, fuck him.
Is Mitch McConnell still in the hospital? I know he went in yesterday or the day before.
I think so. Yeah, with flu-like symptoms.
A minute ago about I don't give a fuck who it is. Noam Chomsky.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck him. Gross.
If he did anything fucked up, then fuck him. Yeah.
For example, I was a huge fan of Diddy back in the day, right? But when I found out he had ties to a bunch of awful stuff and was going to jail, that's it. You just go, I'm not a fan of anybody. Or I don't have to be at that point.
I was a big fan of Diddy, but when I found out that he did that fucking abhorrent cover of fucking Cashmere with Jimmy Page,
that was in 1998.
Gotham Knight says, I say that because Republicans are the ones in power and they're the ones trying to hide it the most. Yeah,
I understand that. I wasn't having a pop. I'm just saying that it's not just Republicans. It's rich people.
I would agree in governmental sense right now. Yes, the admin that Trump has are the ones that are actively trying to hide the Epstein files.
And they absolutely have no morals, and that's exactly why they're in the positions that they're in, because they're amoral.
Here's the interesting thing: just to look at the admin now, and I know it's not totally Epstein related, but it is related to the admin. Something that we saw today is they are pulling troops out of or agents out of.
I have something pulled up about that actually.
Yeah, I think Homan has decided that it's a losing battle for them. It's an optics nightmare, so they're removing troops. They're removing agents.
700 immigration agents. So yeah, that's a clear win. Now let's not get fucking ahead of ourselves ever. So for instance, last week whenever they said they demoted what's his name, little high
Greg Bovino, and Kristi Noem has also now been assigned to the border. She's not even in the cities anymore.
That was a big win, but then some people were like, oh, they're gonna fucking, they did not get ICE out of Minneapolis yet. They still just kept on being really. They do that kind of thing. You got to be careful whenever they do something like that to appease people superficially, but they're going to continue doing the same shit anyway with Tom fucking Homan or whatever.
Yeah.
But this does seem like an actual bit of a win here. Trump says he's trying a softer touch. Oh yeah, that's going to go over well with the fucking.
Well, the softer touch is literally them, like Tom Homan, admitting they need to go back to the way they were doing it before, which is targeted, researched, investigated collections of undocumented people who are criminals.
It's insane, and it's the thing is that the fucking MAGA base, I guess, and then also people don't pay attention, have been thinking that that's what they were doing this whole time. You know what I mean?
This is like lighting your barbecue with a stick of dynamite, and when you
Well,
blow up
it's
the
like
barbecue, saying,
it's like the argument about Renee and Alex Preddy, right? They're like, oh, well, they're interfering with the investigation. And the question's always been, what investigation? They're just showing up on streets and walking around. You can't say that that's interfering with an investigation when they're literally just profiling people. That's not an investigation, which is why it was ruled a homicide officially, which I know anytime something like that happens, typically it's going to get ruled a homicide. But now we know the names of the agents that did it. We know that it's an optics nightmare for them. Like 70% of people do not agree with the way ICE is being handled now. Mm-hmm. Trump knows it's a problem. And look, they're not doing this because they actually give a shit about people or that they feel bad about what's happening. They're doing it because it is a losing fight for the administration. They cannot win public trust, escalating this and continuing to shoot people.
Yeah, I mean, right now they've set the standard that ICE can legally murder you.
Yes, that's the problem. That's why when those agents did it to Alex Preddy, it was like we're arguing about whether or not it's legal when the government, Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller were trying to argue that it's just there's immunity. You can do that. So you have a bunch of agents out there on the street that think I can just shoot people and there's no this is why you can't say that. Because now you have a bunch of people that are not properly trained doing this thug work for the government and saying, "Oh, you can just shoot people and you have immunity." No, it's wrong.
Because that's the thing. Like, even if some terrible thing and I were to like fall into the rare situation where I would actually be victim to murder of by a legal immigrant, that illegal immigrant would get charged and would go down.
Right.
An ICE agent kills me, they're just immune.
There's internal investigations that happen with every form of law enforcement in this country that's supposed to happen when somebody gets, and I've looked this up, I've researched this. If somebody uses a firearm, any agent, whether it be a police officer or a government agent or anyone that's in a position of power, uses a firearm, whether they hit you or not, if they discharge that firearm, there is an investigation into why that happened. The reason for it, what occurred, those are all investigated. The fact that they can unload 10 shots into somebody's back when they're laying on the ground posing no threat, and they're like, oh, there's going to be no investigation. We're not going to work with the state on this. This is crazy. And that's why when people try to get me on their side, I guess, when it comes to seeing about the way the government is working, it's like if you can't even understand how they're taking away basic rights from people, how am I supposed to even acknowledge what your opinions are on this? You're not even facing the fact that they're doing this. Like, even if you want to argue that what they did was in self-defense, there's no investigation. There's nobody's being held accountable. No, we know it's not. But even if they wanted to argue that, there's no investigation into it. Mm-hmm. So it's so crazy.
Yeah.
So Columbia Rica said earlier there was this morning article which Trump is pushing Miller aside, but I didn't know how much I trust that news. I wouldn't say, okay, so here's how we'll know this is true, okay? If they stop appearing on camera and talking. That's the only way you're going to know it. They're not going to ever say it. He's not going to talk about it. We will never hear from Greg Bovino again. He is out of the admin. They put him back in California. If we see anything about him, it's going to be reporters reporting on him. He's never going to be speaking for the admin again. Kristi Noem has been reassigned back to the actual border. I don't know if we're ever going to see her on camera again. Tom Homan is their spokesperson for DHS right now, Border Patrol and ICE. And he'll stay there as long as he doesn't do anything to get the admin or make the admin look bad. If Stephen Miller is actually being pushed aside, we just won't see him on camera anymore. That's the reality of it. Because Trump, they can't admit that they're doing anything, that they're taking any accountability, because that makes them look weak. So Stephen Miller will just silently disappear for the rest of the time he's in the White House, if that's the case. Think about it. They haven't actually fired anybody since Trump got reelected. Everything has been reassignments or new roles or something like that. They don't fire people.
I think they might be trying to avoid what was going on in his first term, where it felt like a fucking revolving door of staff just going through his fucking office.
And they're not doing that this time. This time he's trying to like keep everybody in their position because he doesn't want to seem weak to his base.
And everything is about appearance. I mean, the shutting down of the Trump Kennedy Center for 2 years. That's not
for renovations.
Yeah, nothing to do with it. It's because nobody wants to go there because no artist wants to perform in the Trump Kennedy Center.
Yeah. Congratulations. You add your name to it. Now nobody wants to be there.
I also want to point out that, and I talked about it earlier, about the win in Texas in a district they tried to gerrymander for Republicans. Trump tried to campaign for the Republican in that district, and they lost by a lot. Again, the Democrat won by 17 points, or 17-point split or spread. So when Trump was asked about that, he goes, well, I don't know anything about that. Even though he put out tweets about it, he said, I don't know. That's a local election. I don't know anything about that. He goes, I'm not on the ballot. Newsflash, Republicans, for the rest of the fucking time you're running for office, Trump's not going to be on the ballot again because he's either not going to be around because of health reasons, or there will be legal challenges. He's not on the ballot with you. So what he's saying is he doesn't have your back. If you were running for office again and you lose, he's going to say that he doesn't have anything to do with it. But if you win, he will take credit for giving you the victory. That's the way it works now. So he just dismisses people when they don't win, just like he did with the woman that was running in my state against Spanberger, who he didn't necessarily campaign for her, but he came to the state, sent J.D. Vance here and tried to get people to vote for her, and she lost by a lot. We had a complete blue wave in Virginia. Like, no Republicans won anything. And so he just completely didn't talk about it. He never mentioned it. He never spoke up about it. So this is what they're worried about. This is the issue. This is why what's happening with ICE and DHS in Minneapolis is happening, because they're worried about optics. They're worried about people, like having Greg Bovino walk around like a supervillain, was not good. We watched the video. I think, Dane, I think you're the one that had the clip. We watched where the woman was there making fun of how tall he was and stuff. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you don't want in the cycle.
And
you know
honestly,
what I mean?
that's the kind of thing that Trump may very well have gotten rid of him for over anything else. Because, like, I remember the first administration, he got rid of Sean Spicer, I think, because of something really fucking stupid, like superficial shit. That's how his fucking tiny brain works. I wanted to point out, going back to the win in Texas, though. So I'm from Texas. It is extremely hard to win as a Democrat in most areas, right? But I mean, not necessarily Houston, but like North Texas, for example, like Dallas, Fort Worth area. Yeah, it's pretty hard. But so a year ago, 2024, the area that just voted in, what was it, Texas Senate District 9, they went for MAGA by, I think, like 14, 17 points. They swung so hard the other direction, just a year later, that it was a 32-point swing to the left. And they did that, let's see, it's over 50 points, sorry. Special election Latino voters backed the Democratic candidate by an astonishing margin, 85% to 15%, according to Vote Hub. This is the political cost of an administration that has chosen xenophobia and cruelty. So we talk about there hasn't been any consequences for the Epstein stuff, right? And maybe there never will be. But the fact that people are out in the fucking streets, the fact that I'm literally about to have to leave this stream to go do a community meeting in my apartment complex, so I make sure that everybody knows what their rights are and stuff like that. And everybody's excited about it. Everybody's trying to get on the same page. That shit, I got some hopium. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So
there's a lot more of us than there are of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just know that. Power to the fucking people, 100%.
So I was trying to find this graph of the money spent, because they fucking spent like $2.5 million on this race, as in the right did.
Yeah.
And then the left spent I don't know, 500,000. Still won by 50 points.
Well, so, I think what the left is doing. So I just want to sort of give away, I think, what's happening here with people on the left that are running in office right now, or running for office, is they've simplified their campaigns, right? They've stopped talking about a ton of social issues, which does bother me a little bit, but I think it's important to know that they're making their message very easy to understand, which is basic affordability and your rights as a U.S. citizen. Those are the two things that they're really pushing back on, and I think those are the most important things they should be focused on right now.
So, like, you said, like, I understand by being like kind of frustrated that they're not specifically focusing on things that are very real threats to like the queer community and but like focusing on affordability, having everybody thinking about that at the same time as well, it's unfortunate because so many people are suffering, but it also just doesn't happen very much in the US because they've been so successful at branding any vague thought about like, hey, maybe we're kind of poor and we need the government to do something about that. That's like socialism. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
the fact that they've managed to break, we've broken that a little bit. That's a good thing.
But Dane, I would also say that not just affordability, but if we're talking about like your own civil rights as an American citizen and what it means to be American, I think that particular message covers all the entire. It covers marginalized communities as well. So I think all of that sort of fits into the same package, and I think people need to remember that as you're voting, that if they're talking about what it means to have rights and things like that, it includes marginalized communities as well, more so than say the Epstein class, which is what the billionaire class is. So I think it's a very easily packaged message, and it's working. We're winning positions around the country with this messaging, and I think Mamdani is one of the people that sort of spearheaded this more focused concept of making sure people can afford groceries and they can afford to buy things they need for their house to live a happy life and things like that. Things that I guess the Republicans are still running on anti-trans stuff. That's like 3 years ago. It's not working. They lost in my state with it. They're losing everywhere with that kind of culture war stuff.
Well, you could tell they started freaking out about this affordability thing is the moment that Mamdani won, because what did they do? Remember, they instantly were like, look, women being able to vote is a big problem. You know what I mean? Like they just instantly started throwing women under the bus.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, we all agree that social issues are important, and it's something that I think we've discussed before. How we don't want to see those thrown away, and it's difficult to hear them not talking about those things. But then also strategically, I think we're at the moment now where I don't care what they talk about as long as they win, because the social issues will come back.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm kind of with you there, but
it's not like they've forgotten about those.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, it's not like they've forgotten about those social issues.
Right.
They're just not highlighting them because we're in basically a state of emergency, and this is globally as well. What happens to you affects us.
This is really dumb. Like they're not close. They're not pals or anything like that. You know what
Trump
I mean?
Trump was being nice to Mamdani because he's worried about losing business in New York
And
City.
Mamdani was being nice to Trump because he knows he can fucking play to his ego and get what he wants.
Yeah, I don't believe that there's any real camaraderie between the two of them.
But like,
no, I think the important thing about anybody that's met Trump is to tell him what he wants to hear and then just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So, to the what we were just talking about, I agree with both of those points. Where I come from is the idea of, okay, so when people are stressed and traumatized and like overwhelmed, the human reaction tends to be like to look inward and take care of yourself first, and so it's harder to empathize. It's harder to, just generally speaking, like it's more, that's why I think chuds are so fucking chuddy, because they're all suffering so fucking much, to varying degrees, that they just can't even fucking begin to, have any empathy for anybody. And I think that addressing issues of affordability and, just the fucking housing crisis and the food crisis and every other fucking crisis of basic human needs, I think that sets the stage for a more chilled out populace that might be willing to fucking, or is going to be willing to like enable. Because if you don't have any fucking food, if you don't have a sandwich in your belly, you can't go march for your neighbor or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, it's being a little bit reductive, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to go pretty soon, but like, I wanted to point out that Eric July is in the cult. Okay, he is in the fucking cult. He will never say it because that's part of what he does. He's. I think I'm fully convinced now that he is paid to basically pretend to be like, I'm not a Republican or whatever, I'm a libertarian, but like, he just straight up pushes narratives and actually doesn't push narratives most of the time. As we watched last week and this week too, a video we could look at, he just kind of shits in the discourse pool. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't contribute anything. He's just like making distracting content, I think. You know, the shit he was
Well,
saying about.
This is straight out of the Glenn Beck playbook as well.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn Beck always claims to be a libertarian who just happened to always side with the Republicans on every issue, and then.
Can I show just like a couple? It's a short video that he's got, but I want to take a look at it because it's crazy the name that he goes out of his way to not say, basically.
Oh well, real quick, just to update people, some news stories. Libertarian National Committee Chair are asking to abolish ICE. That's the Libertarian position on ICE, right?
And that was his position last week, right? No, that's right. It wasn't. It was his position. Did you see that, Bob?
No, I have not seen it. I kind of heard it's got the cliff notes, but
his position was that because it's not them, it's actually the left, the socialists that are leading this conversation about abolishing ICE. He, even though he's a libertarian who thinks that, government is tyranny and ICE is literally the most tyrannical fucking obvious example of that we have going on right now. You would think that but he literally says, well, principles aren't everything. Basically, you got to go with strategy sometimes. And it's not good political strategy to, set your principles aside. It's not good political strategy to just go, yeah, I agree, let's abolish ICE, because it's not us that are leading that conversation.
I think it's interesting admitting that he has no principles. Because for me, principles are kind of everything.
Right.
I mean, it's essentially if the left suddenly started saying we want private healthcare, we don't want a public option, and we want to protect the Second Amendment, and we think every American should be armed, Eric July's positions would completely change on those two issues. He would be anti-Second Amendment, and he'd be touting the public option because it's strategic, which is quite the admission.
So, what's funny is he seems to be aware of what's in these files so far. And anybody that has taken time to actually look, and you're not just looking to find the name of your political enemy or whatever, if you're kind of looking through holistically and trying to see what does this kind of generally consist of, you're going to come to the conclusion that there's a couple of people that make an appearance more than many, many others. Right. And so his thumbnail has a picture of him and Bill Gates. Which is weird. Weird to go with Bill Gates, right? And then,
All right. I want to talk about some of my observations. Obviously, these Epstein files, we got some more of them. Bit of a data drop. Looks like there's still more to come. Some of this is redacted, a lot of this, but it does look like there's more to come. You would think this was a very unifying issue. I don't know, your country, maybe the world being ran by an international cabal full of pedos and weirdos would be something that would unify everybody. Yeah, it doesn't. Not at all, actually. It's very divisive, if anything. You know why? Because it's about who you want to condemn, right? What side of the political aisle that they are on, how you feel about them, and that will determine, especially in online dialogue and discourse, that will determine how you feel about it. Not saying if you're watching this, I'm saying that for a lot of folks it is, and that.
Pause it there a minute.
Folks sharing around.
Wait, he's literally just talking about doing this as team sports, right?
He's doing this. He's at least being consistent with last week. He's saying it really is just strategy,
He's both sides of it, but everybody on the left is unified in condemning everyone in the Epstein file.
I haven't seen one person on the left side go, yeah, we should only prosecute Republicans. I've never heard that argument.
There's some MAGA folks here and there who are fucking breaking off because of this shit. So it's that unifying that it even is gotten through to those people. Some of them, I wish it was more. I wish it was every single one of them. But to say that this is a divisive thing is to
this is only partisan to one side.
Yeah,
the other side,
right? Yes,
are completely united on it.
Some just doctored ones, just because it validates whatever opinion, preconceived notion that they have.
But
they don't even
notice that he hasn't even said a name yet. I don't think. You know what I mean? He's just vague fucking bullshit. He's just paid to fucking talk nonsense. God damn, it pisses me off.
He's paid to pretend he's libertarian and do
so much
Republican talking points.
What was that, Bob? Sorry.
I said he's paid to pretend he's a libertarian but do Republican talking points.
100%.
Get into it. Do you care about anything? It's who you can condemn. Is it Bill Gates? Is it Trump? Is it Clinton?
All of them. All of them.
condemns what you focus on and laser in on.
Eric July. Every
single
one of these motherfuckers, dude. Try that. Try having some principles, sincerely having principles. The non-aggression principle. I'd say that, raping children systematically for over a decade with your fucking rich pals is a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, fucking lying piece of garbage.
Unfortunately. Meaning that you don't get to the full context of anything. You don't get what this actually means. And most importantly, if we can't.
So if there's no full context, we don't know what any of this actually means. How can you start out by saying we shouldn't have this global pedo ring or whatever? If you can't assume that any of it's true, then you can't assume any of it's true. You can't start off with such a, it's nonsensical. There's no logical fucking through line the way that he talks about this stuff.
And some of us are asking for the Republican-controlled police services, the law enforcement services, to find out.
So we can have context, because that's what he's asking for is context. Like, that's what an investigation is for.
Yep.
Side what that is. Well, who's going to be actually prosecuted? I don't know, and actually pay the price for heinous crimes if they are indeed participants of it. That's the problem with heavy politicization of just. It's the world. Right.
Politicization of the world is the problem, guys. Just the world being so politicized, we can't do anything about these pedos.
Well, it's funny other countries are not as politicized about it, though,
right.
Because the Labour Party are currently investigating a member of the Labour Party, so they managed to do an investigation.
We don't need to watch more of that brain rot. I promise. It's a 4-minute and 34-second video. He doesn't get any better from there with what he's,
I was just gonna say, the issue is a lot of this shit gets politicized. It doesn't need to be politicized. But which side politicizes it, Eric? Which side does that?
Would not shut up about the Epstein files until suddenly it became clear that Trump was going to be, the second lead in the goddamn movie. Then they suddenly was like, you fucking guys, you don't care,
So the weird thing is that the politicization of this issue is the distraction.
Yeah.
That is part of the distraction, is that making it out like, oh, there's only a bunch of Democrats in it, or there's only a bunch of Republicans in it. I think that is the distraction. And that's what Trump's admin has been doing. I've been very consistent on this, and I have not seen, and I know this is anecdotal, I know it is, but maybe you guys can back me up on this. I've not seen anybody on the left of center, whether you be more moderate all the way to the more leftist parts of the left, say that they should only prosecute Republicans. No one has said that. Everybody wants a unredacted, or as little redaction as possible while protecting the victims, information provided to them so we can all see what it is, what we're looking at. And what we're getting is we are getting a weird politicized version of that with the redactions. Email addresses being hidden because they're probably Republicans, or they're probably people who are closely related to Trump, because they're not hiding any of the Democrat stuff that's going on in there, which is fine. I don't want you to hide that. I also don't want you to hide the Republican stuff. So it's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, we've talked about, and it's constantly a thing that the right complain about cancel culture. But how many people of the left, quote unquote, cancelled on the left as well as the right, compared to how many people on the right have been cancelled by the right?
There was a very popular Democratic senator who actually stepped down. You guys remember who I'm talking about?
Yep.
Over a very tiny scandal compared to what we're seeing now. It was still a scandal, but it was tiny compared to now about, SA, essentially.
Are we talking about Al Franken? Or
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody that probably shouldn't have. Probably should have pushed back against it now that we're in the situation we're in.
So here's Elon Musk said this is a political attack, talking about France investigating X for the literal fucking CSAM machine that he's
disgusting. I don't know if you guys heard what sparked this latest round of them investigating, but it's pretty bad.
Well,
no, I didn't know. It sort of came out of. I didn't know the exact.
So you remember when this first started, that they were basically saying it breaks laws in several countries because you're removing clothing from people, and it even goes of all ages, but including people underage, right? That was the issue. And then they tried to hide it behind the paywall That wasn't enough. Apparently, that was also still a problem. So then they said they removed the ability for their AI to do this. Well, just like any government that wants to make sure the system works the way it's supposed to, they were able to take 11 and 12-year-old girls and remove their shirts still. So the AI itself is not regulated. And so they finally said, we've had enough. We've had enough. We're going to go in and we're going to investigate. So that's what's happening now.
Yep. And somebody pointed this out. This is just there's more than this, but it is insane. There's a great video by, I think it's American Redact, that covers this very well. The people that are literally not just in the files, but like having regular ongoing conversations that seem to suggest some pretty nefarious and disgusting shit with Epstein.
Hmm.
And they're all in the Joe Rogan Experience at various points, many times, some of them. Yikes.
And who would have guessed that the slowly melting wraith that is Peter Thiel would be a villain?
Yeah. This is funny. Not funny, but I mean, it's well cleverly worded. Hypothetically, if someone was accused of having sex with goats by over 30 different people and regularly denied it, but also dropped very public hints about how much he liked to have sex with goats for decades, and ran a goat pageant to find the best looking goats, and was best friends with someone who got convicted of fucking goats and trafficking goats to friends all over the world who also liked to fuck goats, and his name was in the classified Goat Fucker Chronicles 5,000 times, and he wished other goat fuckers well in prison, what do you think the odds are that that person is a goat fucker?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, we've still not had clarity about why Maxwell was moved to a minimum security prison.
Yeah, I think we do.
Well,
I mean,
we know, but they have not said why. And someone must know why. It didn't happen by accident. She's not there because
like,
of a
after rereading the exchanges with Elon, it is fucking pathetic. I think he came on too strong and made Epstein think he was a narc.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to have your wildest party. When are we going to have the wildest party? And I think Epstein was just like, dude, this guy's fucking, that's a weird vibe.
I mean, you might be onto something there because he came on so strong. It did sound like he was.
You don't see anybody else talking to him like that in the fucking emails, you know?
We have a $5 super chat from Space and Goats here, sort of recapping, I guess, what we were talking about earlier. It's not just CSAM, it's the fact the files are tied to Gender Critical, Gamergate. We didn't mention Gender Critical, but yes, you're right, Space and Goats. Gamergate, everything on the right-wing culture war for the last 15 to 20 years. Yeah, the Gender Critical movement's another one I forgot about. Glenner, who's a piece of shit fucking account over on Twitter, actually privated his Twitter because of all this.
This fucking guy, has anybody heard of him? I'm sure some of you have.
Yes.
He was fucking, like, funded by Epstein, essentially. Like, he was a pet project. Probably the only one, not the only one, just the one we know about. By the way, his wife, I believe, is still missing, probably dead. In a few years now.
Anyway. And I think it's a lesser story, but I think it's worth clarifying, sort of, because it's been released that Epstein was invited to the Harry Potter play by the J.K. Rowling team. And my personal opinion on that is that it had nothing to do with the paedophilia, and that was entirely due to the fact that he would have been supportive of the anti-trans movement and that he was a very powerful person. But the fact that it happened after his conviction should have set alarm bells off, and that's the craziest thing.
Mm-hmm.
All of the stuff post 2008 is damning.
Thank you for the $1 super chat. There's no message attached, so I'm assuming it's just for support. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Columbia Rican says the new trove of emails that would expose that Epstein is the one behind the games now have microtransactions. Someone involved in Call of Duty is on the list as well. Yeah.
Oh, dude, have y'all seen one of the crazier things that actually? I mean, I don't know enough about finance to be able to chase it down myself, but there are some that believe he might have caused the 2008 financial crisis.
That's
a little bit out there, but like,
well, the reason is it definitely looks as if he was a part of it, although not the sole cause. It wasn't just him doing the shit that caused it. It was a few other people, but yeah, he definitely contributed. So,
and then before I get out of here, I wanted to show this one last thing. So if you haven't looked into these files, this dump, here's an excellent. Just watch Kyle Kalinske, Secular Talk. He's on top of all this shit. I fucking love his energy. I love that he starts every video with like trying to be professional and stuff. He's like, "Hey guys, welcome to the show," blah blah blah. And by the end, he's just fucking screaming and cursing and it's just perfect energy, man, perfect. But
sorry, I was gonna say we got a super chat here. I can't pronounce the guy's last name.
JF
Garapi, yes. Is it a name I've heard in a while? I bet Razor Fist might be funded too. I would say anyone on that side of YouTube. I'm not saying they are. Okay, there is a possibility that they could be associated with some sort of like funding from other people, because we know that a lot of their the scale of their channels and stuff is artificially inflated. So
there's lots of dark money floating around that side. So
again, I would say personal opinion here. Anybody whose rise to YouTube fame came pretty much out of nowhere when they started to be more right leaning is probably funded by either someone, well, certainly somebody within Epstein's sphere, because that seems to be everybody on the right.
Like basically, I used to believe that it was just the algorithm was very, very favorable to this content, and that's still true. It's just I don't think that's the only element.
I think it's artificial to a degree, but like
yes,
it still is there. I remember back in the day, Nerdrotic doing his 1,000 subscriber video, and when he did that, I had 8,000 subscribers.
I want to point out, Tony, here, Gender Critical is just a rebranding of a TERF, and if you don't know what TERF is, then you need to look it up. It's a rabbit hole, but it's a anti-trans group that just exists to basically go after trans people pretending to be women's rights or whatever. So
I think what Bob was saying. Sorry. I was just going to say what Bob was saying, the spectacular rise of Nerdrotic when he switched 180 degrees from saying things like everyone's welcome in this fandom to you're not welcome in this fandom if you disagree with me. I think that switch and then the popularity seems kind of artificial.
So if dude just unsubscribe to them, you know what I mean? Like you have the power to weaken them. And I'm not saying you got to subscribe to us or watch us, but like if you don't believe in what they do and you think that what they do is a shitty thing, you still have some power. You can exercise over them, and I would salute you for it.
Yeah, I would say, I've said this before, even if stumbling upon my video makes someone question whether or not they should be subbed to a Chud channel, and you don't like me, but you've decided that the Chud channels aren't for you either, you can just disconnect from all of it. Like I totally support that.
If you want a happier life, unsubscribe from them all, clear your search and your view history, and just build your algorithm again. Block them.
Drinker clip channels and stuff now and then.
Build your algorithm from scratch in a way that makes you happier, in a way that isn't going to enrage you, or drive you towards that content.
Yep. One last thing I wanted to look at data-wise. This is pretty alarming set of facts. But so here is a list of 30 that they've gotten through at this point as an organization, independent kind of watchdog folks of ICE and Border Patrol agents charged with or convicted of crimes in, I guess, recent years. Here's just 30 of them. And 29 of these 30 are sex crimes against children.
Ooh.
There's their names. There's who they are, what state, what year, what race.
It's almost like ICE is this collection of the worst of us.
That's literally what they are. We have empowered, or our fucking president has empowered the literally guys that should be sitting at home, honestly considering whether they should fucking, pull the trigger in, tonight or not in their own fucking mouth. That's what I'd say I prefer them doing that. But no, they've been given some idea of power and being, told that they can exercise that with impunity, and we see what's happening. But with that in mind, I am going to go to my community meeting and try not to be so dark and heavy about.
I've only got about 10 minutes left anyway. I don't know if we want to wrap it up or what we want to do.
I don't know. I had one thing I wanted to discuss briefly.
Okay, I'll stay on with you.
Back to our classics.
Yeah, we can do that.
So I guess less important than the Epstein stuff, but it is something that's interested me. This conversation, Nerdrock just did a video about an hour ago.
Wait,
here we go.
Dane, wait, before we get into this, Dane, do you have to go now?
Me?
Yeah.
It starts at 4 officially, but I'll probably be there a couple minutes late, and people's probably.
Okay, I just want to make sure before we jumped into this because this might go long. So.
Yeah, I'll just bail out if I have to go.
Yeah.
Again, here we go again. Lupita Nyong'o reportedly cast as Helen of Troy in The Odyssey. Well, number one, I don't think any of that's confirmed. Number two, even if she is, like, the most defining feature of Helen of Troy is that she's gorgeous, and Lupita Nyong'o definitely qualifies.
Yep.
So
also
racism,
not
right?
also not a real person.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to treat this as historical, then we also have to treat people like Achilles as historical, who can only be injured at his heel. You think that's historical? This is mind-boggling. I also think, like, I feel like Nerdrock had to go out of his way to find the least attractive picture of Lupita Nyong'o he could find, because I dug up just like a picture that was kind of similar.
I think that's AI probably.
Yeah, I think it's AI influence too, because like her nose looks a little different and shit. Like,
yeah, he probably went into AI and said, "Make
bizarre,
her look like whatever the prompt is that he wanted."
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out that I don't remember anybody complaining about Brad Pitt being cast as Achilles in Troy.
Right.
With the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Brad Pitt cast as a Greek. Not a problem.
So I have four images or so, all from the same source that actually directly relate to this. I'm going to show these real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. But like, so speaking of the Lupita Nyong'o thing, here is. These are all from the Critical Drinkers subreddit. If you know about that, then you know about that. How awesome that is, right? 1 second. Here we go. Our critical drinker. We was Helen of Troy and shit.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That's you might just not aware. That's just racism, guys. It's pretty fucking stupid and disgusting. And then what else? Oh yeah.
And again, it is just a rumor. They're just running with it because it's a rumor. But even if she is, fine.
I mean, I don't even know why Travis Scott in particular was mentioned. I'm not sure, but like, here we go. This is just like great. Thanks for the honesty, man. Here we go yet again. Wonder Woman. I just don't watch stuff with black people in it shot after 2005. Fucking
it looks like that's his response to Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Remember, I think I said it about 2 years ago that they were just going to start being racist. I think I'm the one that said that. We were on a Shillcast, and I'm like, it's now that Trump is elected, in a matter of time, we're just going to see overt racism again.
I mean,
we're going to see overt homophobia.
I'm kind of surprised that like guys like Gary still hasn't, he's still kind of hovering in the same lane that he always did. I haven't seen him step.
Yeah, I actually think if he does it, so this is my theory. It's just a nerd theory, I guess. But if Gary doesn't shift and become more extreme, he's going to get passed up by somebody else who is.
Yeah.
That's the reality. If he doesn't shift and start doing the things that his audience is doing, they're going to think of him as boring and they're going to move on to someone. That's just the reality of it.
I mean, who gives a fuck? I mean, like, it's a weird question to ask, but like, we give a fuck because it's important to like, this kind of shit only flies in their echo chamber. The reason we like to, I like to highlight stuff like this is because outside of their little fucking, we pat you on the back because you did a racism fucking hug box. This shit is cringe. It's fucking stupid. It's antisocial, and everybody is laughing at them, but also just kind of thinks they're pathetic at the same time, and they should know that,
The thing is, I'll make it very clear. I like talking shit about racist and bigots.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pieces of shit, and that makes them fair game for me. Like I said at the beginning of this year, I'm done pretending with these guys. That literally they have told us time after time after time about how they feel about stuff. They're racist, they're bigots, they're sexist. Yeah, Tony, you're fine. I understood it was not directed towards us. But people ask what my end goal is. My end goal is to continue to expose these guys for being pieces of shit. So if my end goal continues to exist because they're not stopping, then I'm just going to keep going. And if that makes people mad, it makes people mad. I don't stay mad, cry more. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Like whenever we do something that makes them mad, whenever there's a gay person in a TV show and they make 5,000 videos about it, we won. Thank you. We won. Congratulations, cry more.
The fact that Dana Walden, who's the new CEO of Disney, is an open Democrat who's pals with Kamala Harris and her husband. That's just goes to show that this shit is not. They're not changing. You know what I mean? The shit is not doing anything.
Bob is in spinning hell for me.
Well,
yeah, me too.
All right.
I look. The way I look at it is. I'm not going to. Okay, so give a good example. I watched a clip from Geeks and Gamer, or actually Friday Night Tights the other day, and they talked about like how many gay people are in Star Trek or whatever, and they were being hyperbolic about it. They were saying that everybody was gay. We made a joke about it earlier. The reason why I didn't correct them is because I don't see a problem with it. If there were 5 gay people in Star Trek, who gives a fuck? I'm not going to correct you on it because you're making it seem like it's a negative. And if I have to refute your claim to make it seem like it's a good thing that there's not 5 gay people in it, that I'm only validating your point of view. So I'm not going to correct them on that. If they want to believe there's 10,000 gay people in something, cool. I'll take it. 10,000 gay people. And we didn't even have to have a coming out scene. That's great.
That sounds like a pretty bad metal song.
Right. Continue crying. I don't give a fuck anymore. Make everything gay. Put a rainbow in everything. Put a trans flag in everything. Fuck these guys. I don't have any apologies for them anymore.
When they get somebody representing them, trying to represent them, they don't even support that person. So now Sydney Sweeney, poor girl, she's had to start a new line of clothing. Have you seen this? Her new lingerie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Look, Brandon here says,
help her with that.
You won the second EFAP made a segment on one of your videos. I feel like that was a big deal. I didn't want to like blow it out of proportion too much, but the fact that they even bothered to talk about me was kind of fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. Because I was pretty fucking based in that video, and they can suck my dick.
Yeah.
Well, as we should know now that anything you say against a critical drinker that gets any steam, EFAT will defend because he's Mauler's best friend.
Yeah.
Which
that's true.
Knows how to pick him.
We got a $5 super chat from Columbia Rican here. The chuds have been empowered by this admin, but that empowerment is not showing returns because their channel numbers have suffered. Well, that's because they can't play. So follow me here for a second. I promise this won't take very long, but the reason why we're seeing so much infighting between like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Benny Johnson and fucking Erica Kirk and all these people infighting, you see it on the channels here on YouTube, is when you're no longer able to play the victim, you have to be a victim somehow. And so you will find that victimhood in something else. And so if they're not infighting with each other, which is why we're seeing like Nerdrotic, Critical Drinker, they're not fighting with, like if those two channels went to battle with each other, they would triple their viewership numbers because that would be exciting to them. Well, when you're on the winning team and you're not a victim anymore, there's nothing exciting to talk about.
The market is shrinking fast. That's another thing. Is like it started shrinking the moment Trump won. That's what we're talking about. Like their content started fucking just red line went way down. None of them are doing well. They're doing better than I ever will, and many of us ever will, sure. So that's not what we're saying. But none of them are doing well compared to what they were doing, and their growth has either stopped or just completely turned the other direction.
Well, the thing to also keep in mind is that like we're on YouTube because we like doing videos and live streaming and stuff like that. We're here because we like doing it. We like talk about movies. We like talk about all this dumb stuff. We like that.
I'm still doing it anyway,
But these guys are literally just on here to make money. So whenever they get diminishing returns, that's huge for them.
And so important that whenever they do something that's very egregious to make money, that they get made fun of. So look for something in the vein of this pretty soon. Because this is real. The Rogue Elements has been recut 13 times now. They're trying to polish that turd, and I'm we might take a look at that for too long. So watch out for that.
But I think everybody needs to remember as well, and I know it's difficult because there's so much shitty news coming out from this administration. But Trump said he was going to fix woke Hollywood. He said he was going to fix Hollywood.
True.
John Boyd and
I thought John Boyd was in charge of Hollywood now. I thought Trump.
Thank you, Columbia Rican. I appreciate it. Sorry,
really
just
bad fucking. You know what I mean? Video where he's like, "Oh, Trump, save us! Ramon Bevan's Muslim."
Thank you, Columbia Rican. We hit the goal. I forgot I even said it. Thank you for putting that there. I appreciate it. All your support. We all appreciate.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
So all those tariffs that he was going to put on films made outside of the US, did that happen?
No, and it can't. He was talking about it, but there's no way. How do you tariff like media? That doesn't make any sense. He's like, well, I'm going to do tax incentive tariff, blah blah blah. Like you can't do it. It's impossible. It isn't
rich himself, and that was always the case. Like that's all he's doing is he's using it as influence and to make himself richer. He's like got his net worth has grown by like $4 billion this term. That's insane. Like there's obvious fucking crazy. God
It's
damn,
almost like that's his whole point.
Explicitly tariffs are a duty on goods. Like it has to be a tangible item that's used in trade, right? That's what it is. You can't tariff writing. You can't tariff filming stuff. Like he would have to tariff. He would have to go after. Well, it wouldn't even be a tariff. It would be some sort of like tax break or tax incentive or tax restriction, which wouldn't be a tariff. It just doesn't make any sense.
The tariff is all about like I don't remember which one, but it's items coming in or out of the country. Well, how are you supposed to tariff like a file that I put into a Dropbox then somebody else just grabs?
Right.
How do you tariff that shit?
So so this is a good perspective, and I know you got to go, Dane, and I've got to go too. But I want to say very quickly, the loss of America's value in the trade market is a much bigger problem and a much long-lasting issue we're gonna have to deal with than any sort of money that he's brought in for his wealthy friends. I need if you're watching this, we have 150 people watching right now. If you're watching this, the damage that Trump and his admin has done to our allies and our trade partners is something that we're gonna spend, if even possible, decades and decades and decades rebuilding. Like it's damage that is just so bad that it's not going to be fixed overnight. Canada, our biggest trading partner.
Yes, Canada.
Yeah. Canada, who we had free trade with for the most part, except for a couple targeted items, now has bypassed us completely. They're trading with Mexico and using China and all these other countries. Yeah. They're doing all of this, and they're doing it with agreements that make our agreements look like nothing at this point.
How they're always appealing to the fact that we've got to, compete with China. We got to be stronger than China. It's like literally this is undermining that effort. Like it's so
we have literally pushed people to the countries we said we were making the tariffs for, which was to prevent those countries from gaining power. But we have essentially, Trump is so stupid that he's waved around tariffs like there's some magical wand that can give him everything he wants, because the only thing they could, a dick measuring contest that he could use other than like military force. He's tried to do that instead of actually doing deal making, which is why people say they voted for him.
Something that was pointed out to me that I hadn't realized or hadn't occurred to me was that when the tariffs are on, companies like Walmart can choose to absorb the cost of the tariffs.
They can,
and sell their products at the same price. But a local shop selling the same products can't and has to pass that on to the customer. And so if a product in your local shop goes up by 20% and is the same price in Walmart, that pushes you to Walmart, which means the richest people continue to get richer and everybody else goes out of business.
But see, this requires like actual schooling. We have a really dumb community here in the USA that
Yes,
they
we do.
prey on. They prey on the dumbest portion of our community. And I'm not saying that is like dumb people deserve to be exploited. Like that's not me saying that, or that people should be ashamed of it. The education system failed them, not the other way around.
For example, this right here. So, do populations create value and wealth? Is that just by having a certain number of people? Like, that doesn't make any sense, what you're saying. Like, that's it's discounting the way that money is made, the way that the economy works. Like, it's weird.
I actually think that the idea that, we were this superpower and that we controlled so much, the fact that it could be so easily dismantled by our own government is crazy to me.
Well, but I mean, it's Putin. This is everything, like Bob of the Old Way said. Everything literally makes sense if you imagine, and it's not hard to, that Trump is a asset of Vladimir Putin, whose explicit goal for a long time has been to essentially, weaken the U.S. as much as possible. And he's doing every night. Vladimir Putin's fucking jerking off to fucking whatever the news is saying about how shitty things are in the U.S. right now.
Yeah, and combine that with Trump being a terrible businessman and a terrible person, and it's the perfect storm. He's easily manipulated. He's been manipulated, and he's as somebody who was formerly a world superpower with a very small population. I can tell you.
I gotta get going.
All right, see you later, Dane.
Yeah.
We'll wrap this up here in a minute.
Yeah, I'll wrap up.
Have a good meeting.
I mean, yeah, just to finish my thought, as somebody from a former world superpower who was punching above their weight, it all collapsed because we made stupid decisions at every stage of our empire, basically, that enriched us or didn't even enrich us. The poor people in the UK were being exploited by the rich business owners, and nothing was done about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we know about when slavery actually ended. The people who were in the UK, when we refused to take part in the slave trade anymore, the people that were compensated were not the slaves, it was the slave owners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Columbia Rican here says Trump bankrupted 3 casinos and his dad handed down to him casinos in which the house always wins. Make that make sense. Yeah. Trump is the biggest con artist I think we've ever had in the world. I think he is. And what's the issue now is, and the only thing I see him kind of struggling to do, because everything he's doing is collapsing around him, is he wants to try and fuck with elections, which is why he went down into Atlanta, down in Georgia, and tried to fuck with that. Tulsi Gabbard now, apparently there's some big bombshell story about her that is just about to come out. I checked today, but it seems like she's sort of just talking shit, saying it's all not real, it's not real, but apparently there's something big that's about to come out about her. And she was connected to that as well.
Real enough to keep hidden in her private safe.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I can't believe there was a short period where I thought she was all right.
Well, the thing I can say is that it is fun to watch the castle collapsing, but what we're seeing now, the reason it's only been a little over a year since he's back in office, and we're already seeing it collapse around him. We have the midterms coming up. He wants to try and nationalize state elections, which is like, obviously the Supreme Court's not going to allow that, but that's what he's been talking about.
Well, we don't know with this Supreme Court.
But I can say this, and I say this with 100% certainty. If somehow he tries to fuck with state elections, we will see protests like you have never seen before. I think, like, we've waited to see how big these things are going to get. If you try to come after state elections, that's going to be a big deal. We will see, like, remember when they did, what was it called? The No Kings, the first No Kings protest and the second No Kings. Like, I think this would be a protest even larger than that, because then that's a slap in the face of not just Democrats, but Republicans in states by taking control of their life. You'd be taking the power away from them. And I think there's some MAGA people that would probably be okay with that, but I don't think every conservative is going to be okay with that. So that's what I think is the issue. We have Erebus here, $5 super chat. Fuck Russia! Yeah. I would agree. Well, no, probably not without a condom, though. Definitely use a condom.
That's true. You don't know where it's been.
Otherwise, you might need to get some antibiotics.
Okay, I want to talk about this before we go, because I know we're about to wrap. I think you've done all your topics, right, Bob? You don't have anything?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say this. The SAVE Act is important. Around 69 million women would possibly be restricted from voting because of a name change. I think this is really important that people understand this. It's about birth certificates, IDs, and legal name changes. Now, of course, this would affect anybody who has had a legal name change. If you're somebody that might have changed your middle name, your first name, your last name for any reason, if you're a trans person, if you're somebody who just wanted to change your name, you just wanted to change your name, or if you're a woman that's been married, this particular thing is a big deal. So, and it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere. It looks like there's enough people that understand how severe this is. But if this did, say for example, this did pass, it would 100% end up in front of the Supreme Court. 100%. So we'll see. We will see what happens. But it's bad.
So many women's right to vote. Like
someone was telling me 63 states already have an ID situation with like voting. Some states do require. There's like 36 of them require you to have an ID on site. I don't have an issue. Like I honestly don't have an issue with like making sure you have some sort of identification. But the issue with the SAVE Act is it's a conflict of names. Like it's an issue with how you provide that identification, which is the problem.
So I mean people like to make a big deal about how, like, you know, apparently you don't have to have an ID to vote in so many places, and it's all bullshit. Every time you look into it, it requires an ID to vote, or it requires an ID to get registered. There's an ID somewhere where your identity is confirmed. You can't just make up a person and vote. That is fiction made up by liars.
Unfortunately, we did bring in voter ID as here. We've not had an election since it was brought in, but it was always a conservative talking point because voter fraud is so small. So it's not actually necessary to have a voter ID because in order to register to vote, you provide the ID at that point.
Yep.
And it's not like, obviously we've got a slightly different system here, but essentially here it's run by the local councils rather than, like in your case, it would be the states. So it's similar. The national government doesn't run any of the voting situations here, but it's unnecessary. But this is going a step even further.
Well, this one says, and good that Bob brought this up, your birth certificate and a government ID that matches the name on the birth certificate, which is impossible for people who have had legal name changes. So this is why I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to pass. And again, if it does, it will be challenged in the courts for sure, 100%. Because I know a lot of people. I have friends that have just fundamentally, you know, different names. Like they came over from another country and they've had different names when they came over from their birth certificate, and they're legal citizens, and they wouldn't be able to vote under the new policy here. What's up, Crazy Joe? Shout out to Crazy Joe Adventures. Good to see you, Crazy Joe's concession stand. Anyway, that's pretty much it for me. I got to get out of here because I have to work tonight. How are you guys doing? Should we shut it down or what?
Yeah, well, I'm down. But real quick, I will be streaming tomorrow. We got comic books and chuds tomorrow. Should be fun. Make sure to stop in. Should be about the same time as this stream.
What about you, Ryan? What's happening on your channel?
As usual at the moment, just putting out a weekly Rockford Files review. Still trying, I'd say this every week, and eventually I will release a different video, but at the moment still chugging along with that. And everybody check out Wonder Man, because I think it's the best thing Marvel have done for a long time.
I'm enjoying it. I'm 5 episodes in. I'm enjoying it.
Incredible. The ending is absolutely great. I don't want to spoil it. Great ending. Good, unexpected and different from anything Marvel's done. So
it's everything everybody's been complaining about Marvel not doing. And I think everybody I've seen has enjoyed it. There's a lot of people are catching up with it now, later on. So I think word of mouth is spreading good. So check it out if you haven't seen it.
I think that's directed towards this Bob.
Maybe I assume so. I will. I'm not gonna lie. I hate it, but I'm usually on Threads anymore simply because Threads gets more activity.
Yeah, I don't know. Threads seems to be more active for sure because it's connected to Facebook and Instagram. So anyway, as far as it goes for me, you guys know where to find me if you're watching on the Eric Debunks channel right now. We got 120 people still watching all the streams. Make sure you sub, like, comment, all of that stuff. I have some new videos coming out tomorrow and the Nerdcast tomorrow night. So if you guys want to stop in, we'll be doing that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not much else to go. I don't think we're gonna have a fun, flashy ending because Dane left and I don't feel like pulling anything up. So we're just gonna we're gonna end the stream.
Well,
so yeah, unless you have something.
I can pull up a fun clip here if I can find it real fast. Oh yeah, here I got something.
Okay.
This is a short little clip, but heavily edited.
All right.
Give me a second to find it. But we are going to be celebrating classic. We're going to be celebrating classic heterosexual moments in Star Trek.
Oh, okay, cool. Bump, ba-dum, bum, bum.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right. I'm going to drop out of here. I'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Later.
Now I'm going to be putting that together because everybody on stream how Star Trek is gay now. It's like, yep, you're right. It was always heterosexual. There was never any coding. There was never any hint of anything else. It's all been, yeah, you're right. But yeah, I'll get a few more of those. I think I can definitely find a Garrick and Bashir clip somewhere for sure. But
I mean, surely every interaction past season 1 is has the undertone.
Yes. But yeah, guys, thank you for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to Nothing But Media. Of course, Eric debunks, actual fandom, and I am Organized Chaos. Guys, have a good one.
Enjoy the negative grift, guys. I'm out.